it takes time. Like I only found my routine again in my third year, I think. I only realized that I study very well in this library, on this floor, on this side of this floor. Really, like it's that specific. And once you get that specific, you understand yourself. You know that you know yourself. Learn to say no politely. You know, a lot of people are gonna either ask you to study with them, or to help them with something. You know, can you please do this for me? It only takes 5 minutes. You can say yes, and it might not affect your schedule. Or if you feel that, this is going to take me more time because I really like to do things well, and I'm not going to just do it in 5 minutes, I'm going to spend an hour on it. Just tell them, I'd love to help, but I'm really busy right now, so maybe I can help you next week or something if it's not urgent. If it's really urgent, tell them, okay, I'd love to help, but I really have to do this right now, so I'll tell you, my friend can help you, he's also good at this, or she's also good at this. There's an entire article called How to Say No Nicely or something like that on the 99, and it's about they give you different examples that you can fill with blanks that you can fill in about your activity, and it's amazing. So you can look at this. Tips about the brain. I mentioned that the brain is every brain is wired differently. Something else about the brain. Our brains are plastic, right? Like they're capable of changing. I'm just going to give you one amazing example because I think we have some time. Do we have time, Mr. No? Yes? Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you one example to show you how amazing our brains are. And I hope that this will inspire you to explore more about our system. They did a study back in the 1960s with blind people, and they attached like small plates on their backs, vibrating plates, and they linked those to a camera. And you know how cameras are made of pixels? So every pixel corresponded to a plate on the person's back. They wanted to see if when they turn on the camera, when, for instance, let's say there's an object here, so those pixels cause those plates to vibrate, right? They wanted to see if this person would be able to see without using their eyes because they're blind, right? They're born blind. So they realized that after a while, yes, they were able to see. And not only were they able to see, they were able to see if the woman who was walking, how she had her hair done. They were able to see that precisely. This is just using plates on your back, linking it to a camera that is showing you, seeing for you, basically. And that was in the 60s, so they've developed this device and turned it into something you can stick under your tongue, and it vibrates and it tells you what you're seeing. And this is amazing. Our brains are made this way. They're made to grow and to change. So don't let anyone tell you, these guys, they're so up there, we can't. No, you can develop yourself. You can change. A lot of people who were born with diseases were able to cure themselves, by themselves. And there's amazing stories about this. I'm going to share references in the end about it, because this is very important. This is much more important than knowing how to fit your schedule into Google Calendar, much more important than anything we can study. The first thing is to understand ourselves. Know when to work alone versus when to work with others. Some things are really best done with others. When you're working on some course, you all know your curriculum. Some of my courses, I can't imagine myself working alone. And actually working with others really benefits everyone. Other things are best done alone. But in both cases, you have to spend time alone. You have to allow time for you to think and assimilate things in your own time. That is important. Don't spend all your time studying with others. Something else, define your rules of engagement. One of my friends, and actually another friend imitated this guy, he signs his emails in the end saying, emails are checked once a day, expect responses after 72 hours, emails are not checked on weekend, or something like this. Like he only checks his email once a day and he responds after 72 hours. This is letting people know when you can reply, so that they don't bug you. Hey, I sent you an email, 2 hours ago. Why didn't you reply? Right? This is he's defining his rules of engagement. One famous writer, people were complaining that he wasn't responding enough, and he said, I treat all letters like my work. So it takes me 16 hours to write a paragraph or something like this. That's very impressive. Something that I do personally is that when I give my phone number to somebody, I tell them, but I don't pick up my phone, and then they're like, what? I'm like, no, like I put it on silent, I throw it away when I'm doing work, which is most of the day, and then I check it after a few hours. So please don't be upset if I don't respond to your text messages or don't pick up. This is something that I tell people when I give them my phone number, and it's something that I actually do, because for me to focus and to be able to do a lot of things, a lot of high quality things, if I want to, I have to be able to focus, and I have to forget about everything that's vibrating and buzzing around me, right? And speaking of buzzing, take reflection breaks. Take breaks where you sit down and you just think. I can never emphasize this enough. You always, do it every night if you have to do it. If you can't, once a week, just sit down and say, okay, am I achieving my purpose? Look at your, where you're going and how you're getting there and all that, your SMART goals. Just reflect, you can turn off your devices, sit in the night, and then think with a British accent, because it helps. Let the inner wisdom in you come out. Sleep well, think well. And I would add, eat well, and this doesn't mean, sleep well doesn't mean sleep 15 hours. Eating well doesn't mean bloating yourself. And thinking well, you can never think enough. But don't think too much. But it's important that we sleep well. A lot of people, especially students, we pull all-nighters. We're like, I have this assignment due, I'm going to finish. I'm not going to sleep until I finish it. I know some people, they say, I have an exam the next day. I'm not going to sleep until I start studying or something. So this is, that's not, because when you sleep well, your brain works better, right? Again, we're not designed like our cell phones. I know we all have cell phones, but we don't work the same way, right? This is made, this doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have, you can charge it, it gets charged. For us, it's different. For us, it's more organic. And we still don't know how the brain works exactly. We know some things, but there's a lot that we don't know. So what we do know, however, is that when you sleep well, you think well. That's one thing. And eat well, eat healthy. These are all things. These are not strictly time management things, but they really help you, because you don't just want to manage your time. You want to be productive, right? Like, you want to do meaningful, high quality work. And if you want to do that, then you have to be in your full energy, and you have to bring everything you have. And these are things to keep in mind. Another thing, it takes time to become a good time manager. The first time I attended a time management workshop, I loved thinking, I'm going to change the world with what I have. I know how to organize my Google schedule and all that. It really takes time. You're going to do a lot of mistakes, but your mistakes are going to teach you, because good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. So when you make mistakes, you're going to learn, okay, I tried this, it didn't work, so I'm not going to do this again. And then you try something, oh wow, it worked amazingly. This is how I work best. And then you start, emphasizing on this aspect. So don't worry if after all this, even if after you tried, you're still unable to manage your time. Just be serious about it and be critical, and don't give up. This is very important. Share your goals and commitment. This is important because it's going to force you not to chicken out of your own goals. If you say, let's say you want to, gain 10 kilos of muscles or something. Guys, not girls. But
why not?
Okay, yeah, sorry. Everyone who wants to gain 10 kilos of muscles. Share it with people, if you don't want to put it on Facebook, that's fine. But when you put it out there, people will ask you, they'll see you in the street, they'll tell you, hey, how's your muscle building going? They won't need to ask you if you're doing well, because they'll see you, they're like, oh, you're muscling. But for me, I wanted to write a book, okay? So I put it on Facebook, and everyone saw it. I've never gotten so many likes, maybe because they were laughing at me, like, haha. But every time I saw somebody after, I swear, they were asking me, how's the book coming along? I'm like, I didn't start yet. I said, but then, see, this is important because it's going to get people to remind you. They'll become your natural reminder. And also because they won't, ask you why can't you come with us? They'll know if you're busy, you're probably busy with your book or your muscle building. Always revisit and reevaluate your goals. I know this, I said a lot. Goals and goals might change midway through your semester, right? At the beginning of the year, I wanted to read only 20 books. I realized that I can do so much more. I changed it, right? This happens all the time. You might want to build 5, kilos of muscle. You might realize, no, I can do so much more. So you change that, or so much less. You have to always reevaluate. Don't wait for the end of the year to say, I haven't, done any of that. just go back to it regularly, and don't be afraid to change things. A lot of us are like, no, I said this for myself, I'm gonna kill myself and do it. No, this is like, don't be too harsh on yourself. Push yourself, because pushing yourself, this is how we grow. When we push ourselves outside our comfort zones and study ourselves failing, this is how we learn best. And this is not meant in a harsh way. Ignore what people say, but nicely, again, this smile. People will tell you a lot of things, and they'll give you a lot of valuable advice, but it's up to you to know what applies to you and what doesn't, right? In the end, you know your life better than anyone else, so you can judge. They might tell you, are you sure you want to do this? If what they're saying makes sense to you, that's fine. But if you really believe in it, and if you know that, yeah, I want to do it this way, and this is what I want to do, just take the advice, and but don't let it affect you. Okay, before we start the questions and answers, I'm just gonna share with you some references and some things you can look at after. These are some of the things I used for the slides and the workshop. Start with the why. This is the golden circle thing. If you watch the TED Talk, it's enough, but the book is really good as well. The Art of Possibility by Benjamin Zander and Rosamund Zander. This is a really good one. It's about breaking all our assumptions and challenging the things that we take for granted. And the nice thing is, all of these people are completely different from one another. This guy's a manager, he's a composer, he's a lot of things, and he's a psychiatrist. This is the book about brain, how the brain changes itself. This is where I got the example of the plates from. So this is a really interesting book. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a must-read for anyone who really wants to go into personal management and time management. This is like the Personal Development 101. Some links. Cal Newport has an amazing website called Study Hacks, and he shares all those tips for master's students, medical students. So if you have like specific needs, he usually writes about those things, and he writes about automating it's really advanced stuff. It's like 600 level time management kind of thing. Tony Schwartz, he's amazing because he doesn't talk about time management, he talks about energy management. He says we don't have a time management problem, we have an energy management problem. And it's about putting our energies in the right place and knowing how to renew our energies. So check his articles on the Harvard Business Review. Joshua Foer talks about how great achievers push themselves outside their comfort zones, how we learn by pushing ourselves outside our comfort zones. Also check out the time management articles on 99U. It used to be called the 99%, for those of you who know the 99%. And the brain rules, John Medina's brain rules. It's always good to look at those because they remind you, one of the brain rules is repeat to remember and remember to repeat. So this is because we always, how we say practice makes perfect, it's actually embedded in science. So by repeating, we remember, and if you remember to repeat, it's like a reverse catch-22 or something. So these are the references I wanted to share. We're done with the boring part of the workshop where I'm talking and you're listening. Now, I'd like to open the floor for discussions and questions and anything that you want to say or add. Again, this is one approach. Whenever you look at time management, there's always different approaches, there's always different terms, different principles. Some people have the 7 principles, others the 6. So this was one approach. But I'm hoping that one thing that I hope to achieve is that to show you that it's not just about time management. It's about your existence management, right? It's about knowing where you want to go, how to get there, what are the things that are suitable for you, and not just copy-pasting something that someone else did. And really understanding yourself and how you work best, right? Knowing if you're a fish or a squirrel or an eagle, if you work best in the sea or climbing trees. And these are there's a lot of powerful examples in nature. So this is something to include in your British reflections when you're thinking about it. So yes.